and programs. Got it. So we are hosted by Red Tent Goddess Academy. And so today you're going to see a little bit of that, and that'll be it. After that, it's all going to be enchantress, priestess, information, a lot of stuff. There's activities, meditations, a lot of learning and sharing. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and share sound. Okay. Can everybody see that? I'm gonna move this. Okay. So this is pretty much what we're gonna do today. We're gonna talk, and Claudia is gonna start with what does red tent mean for anybody who's not ever been in a red tent and doesn't understand what red tent means. And this is recorded, so we're going to be sending it out to a couple of girls that are new in the sisterhood. Then Claudia Nieves is going to talk to us about what the divine feminine is. Oh, it says feminine. I just noticed feminine. Then we're going to talk about what the Red Tent Goddess Academy programs are about, and we're going to learn how to truth test everything, so that you could feel confident that whatever you do, you can discern what is truth to you. And then we're going to pull out gifts. There is a meditation in the midst, but it all depends if we do the meditation today or tomorrow, depending on how long we take today. So first, Claudia, let's talk about origins of Red Tent movement, and I'll stop sharing so you can talk.
Thank you so much. Again, welcome, ladies. Welcome those who are joining us live and those who will be watching the replay. My name is Claudia Passetti. Mukti Ramjaya. I am one of the co-founders for Red Tent Goddess. Really an honor to be here today and get to share this time and space with all of you. And I had shared before the recording, and just give a little breakdown for those of you who may be here, will be joining in, watching the replay. Just a little background about Red Tent Goddess. We were founded in March of 2020, right around the pandemic. And then myself, I am a certified Red Tent Women Facilitator. I am a Reiki Master, also a certified Sacred Menarche ceremony facilitator for young girls who are wanting to get initiated in the red path. And so I am also priestess of the goddess and a priestess of the goddess, the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet, who I work with very, very closely. So we started the sisterhood back in 2020, and a year later, we started the academy with our two amazing instructors, Lisette and Marlou, who you're going to be learning from during this experience. We launched our first program last year, the Priestess and the Enchantress. I got to go through the Priestess program, and it was quite transformational. So it's perfect. These two programs are perfect for women who want to go into either a spiritual path or go deeper into the goddess spirituality. And so today I want to talk about the history of the Red Tent. And I just want to see if I have the Red Tent book with me. So just 1 second. Yes, I do. All right, perfect. All right, so I'll talk a little bit about the history of the Red Tent. So first of all, looks like most of you are aware of the Red Tent, right? Who doesn't know about the Red Tent? Looks like we're all either facilitators, experienced. Okay, perfect. So I know there's some sisters who are new to this, who are watching the replay. So essentially, I'll talk about the I'll start with the origin of the Red Tent movement. And the Red Tent movement was started, I believe, in 2007, 2008, by a woman named Alisa Starkweather. And it was based on the book, The Red Tent. So who has read the book? Curious. Excellent. Beautiful. So for those of you who've read it, you know it's a biblical story, a retell story of Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And it talks about the times where women used to come together in the Red Tent. And, you know, the Red Tent was a special place for all the women in the tribe where they would come together and they would support each other during birth. They would support each other going through the different rites of passage. They would come together to break bread, to celebrate. It was a really sacred space for women. And so this book essentially touched a chord when it was first published. It took about 5 years for the author for it to become a bestseller. And she essentially started giving copies away to rabbis, to different churches, independent groups, and just giving people the opportunity to read the book. And then it just became a bestseller. And then she wrote it in 1997. And then in 2008, it just started the actual movement, which is now a global movement. And we have many, many Red Tents and many different groups throughout the world. Myself, I learned from an Australian teacher named Tanishka, who is also called the Moon Woman. She has a different blog, and it's also known by the Moon Woman, and she teaches a lot about, you know, these ancient practices of coming back into the roots of essentially not just coming together in sisterhood in the sacred space of the Red Tent, but also learning how to attune to the cycles of nature, learning all about the moon and the different cycles of the moon and how the cycles of the moon are connected to our own feminine cycles, and how us taking the time to honor our cycles and to honor ourselves can provide and facilitate so much healing. So I learned about the Red Tent back in early 2013, fell in love with it. I was, you know, I never had an encounter knowledge regarding connecting to my blood and the sacredness of my menstruation and the connection to the moon and the connection that the moon has with my own energy levels, and how I could attune to those cycles and actually support me moving throughout the month, so that I'm actually working with my cycles and not against my cycles, so that it can really support my body in regenerating. And so it was really kind of a breakthrough for me to learn that we are cyclical women, right? We're cyclical beings, and it's important for us to honor our own cycles, honor our own internal seasons, and really give ourselves the time that we need to replenish. So that was like a big concept for me. I was like, wow, I wish somebody would have told me that. Would have changed my life. I was about 31. Is that true? Yeah, so around my early 30s when I learned about this. And I just knew I had to bring this work to other women. And so I got connected to a video called Operation Red Tent that was shown by Tanishka. Fell in love with her and her energy. I love everything that she writes. I'm actually going through all of her different books, and I eventually want to do all of her programs. And I did level 1, and I'll be moving into level 2, which is rites of passage, which is really my passion, in addition to the Red Tent and bringing this work available for women. really want to concentrate on in rites of passage so that we can honor not just our cycles every month, but also the different milestones, the different phases and that we go through, and like the power that comes with honoring that. So the concept of the red tent, even though it was a fictional book, it was taken from African tribes and moon lodges where women used to come together and they come together during menstruation, also called menstrual huts. So it's not a new concept. And in fact, there is evidence of, there's a specific bone called the Lobombo bone that were found in a cave that belonged to an African tribe where the women were actually mapping out the moon and actually following the lunar calendar. And it was like the first time that that was actually being recorded. So they say that the women were the first mathematicians. And so that bone was actually dated back to 44,000 years ago. So this is ancient. This is really, really ancient. And so to me, that was the huge breakthrough, was that the red tent really is a portal to that knowledge, really is a portal to connecting back to the goddess, to connecting back to that ancient wisdom that it is in our DNA. And our job now is to help each other to remember and to hold that space and that container for us to honor ourselves and honor our cycles. And so like how powerful it is when we do that, right? It helps us with our mood, it helps to regulate hormonally. And, like we see it, all incidents of reproductive system imbalance and breast cancer and all these different things that come from us giving, when do ever women, right, give ourselves that time. And so that time to cycle and come together during the new moon, when most women menstruate, but it fluctuates, it's a perfect time for us to give ourselves that time. And so what better way for me, I wanted to create that space in my life. And so what better way to do that than to actually create a space of the red tent for other women, right? Because I knew that would be the best way to hold myself accountable and also provide the space for others to cycle and experience that. So that is, in a nutshell, that is the background and the history of the red tent. And so I'm very passionate about this work. I see the power of it in my own life, how it has really helped me to come into my feminine, to learn the practices of being receptive, not just giving and but just like receiving, allowing, nurturing, right? All of these qualities that really help us to be balanced so we can have both the masculine and the feminine. And then there is the goddess, which is a whole other portal, a whole other world that opens up. And so for that, then you have the priestess and program if you want to dive into that. So that is what I have to share. Any questions, comments? Okay, excellent. Is Marlene still here, or are we lose her? I don't see her.
It looks like we lose her again. Okay. Well, I believe I was coming next, right? So we're gonna continue, Claudia, or you wanna wait for Marlene?
Yes.
Okay, we'll continue. We'll continue. So thank you, dear Claudia, and Sister Marlu and Lisette and the Red Tent Academy for putting this together. Beautiful challenge week about this beautiful information and immerse on it. So my name is Claudia Nieves. I am one of the founder members of the Red Tent Goddesses. Recently, past this June, Claudia came and do a blessing in my house for all the ones in South Florida, and especially this area, Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm Beach area, Jupiter, and Florida, to be in rest and connect here when we can know access to Cloud because we love her space. Mine is a little more modest, and but it's welcome and beautiful too. So whenever you decide to come in this area, you can stop by and have a little tea with me and rest in the red tent. What I was, well, I'm a mom of two. They're 12 and 10. And the same ceremony that Claudia blessed the temple here. She came and did a menarche, the first menarche ceremony for the red tent goddesses. And it was done to my daughter, Victoria, who is part of the red tent now. Even though she doesn't want to be in every single meeting or events that we have, but she participates how she please for it. So, but she was very beautiful receiving the womanhood, um, uh, you know, celebration for her. A couple months ago, even though she had her period last year. Hold on a minute, someone is, sorry about this. So what it was a very beautiful ceremony, and made me, this part of the work that I've done to myself is inspired by my daughter, because I was seeking for showing her a different path that I live my life, especially in the womanhood, especially around our cycles. It was no fun for me over the years, and I discovered this in 2019 when I met Claudia and start having all this sisterhood that start popping around my area and in my space. So what I get to talk is the sacredness, right? The sacredness. So what is a feminine, the feminine as a sacred? So in another workshop that I did many years ago in 2017, it talks about the sacred is the way how we hold, they works with our energies. So that's the sacred, so is the way how we hold that it works in an energy. So that's the sacred part. So saying this, we have principles for the feminine and principles for the masculine, and knowing that we have both males and females, we have both energies. So what it corresponds, the more natural for us as a females is the feminine, to hold the feminine as much as we can. Sometimes we have to grab the energy of the masculine that is linear, right? But our cycle, or our cyclically living ways, is what we have in nature, right? It's our nature. So the principles, the feminine is nurturing, like Claudia mentioned before, the creativity, creating, caring is another way, receptive, that Claudia mentioned as well, and compassionate. So that's why we have a distinction from the male, from the masculine energy. The male holds that a little stronger, it's more linear, and for them is they have different type of principles. The masculine side has a different type of is the doing, is the holding, the protector. So what else I can say? We can say that the feminine is the soil, okay, when the masculine is the seed. So that's why we always have to be in this, nourishment to ourselves, and hold that space, even in ourselves, because when we have our own seeds to plant in our own soil, then we can play that harmony with both. What else I get to say? Well, mainly, you might have another concept of sacredness, but sacred is what I say, in my experience, that I say is sacred for me. And everybody has a different ways to receive sacredness. But as a holding a way of being that it aligns with my feminine energy. And so that's what I hold as a sacred feminine. So I am complete. If anybody has a question, I'm open.
Thank you, Flo.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Claudia.
yes, I was curious to know if anybody else would like to share what they think the divine feminine is. Maybe we can just get a couple of shares while Marlou comes back. I'd love to hear from you.
Claudia, if I may.
Yes, of course.
So the way that I see the divine feminine, and I've always seen the divine feminine, is it is that energy that runs through all women. And it comes from the divine, and then it's manifested in us. So for example, in the Hindu tradition, we call it Shakti, right? And then in the Gnostic tradition, we call the divine feminine Shahina. And then in some other circles, like also Gnostic and also Greek, we call it Sophia, the mother goddess, the divine energy that comes from the mother father goddess. In other words, how we see the divine in masculine and feminine form. And so that energy, that feminine energy of the divine, we see it throughout all the goddesses. We see it throughout ourselves, because we are a spark of the divine. That is who we are as women, and that our soul has that divine feminine essence. So basically, the way that I see it, this is my personal viewpoint, I think we're all goddesses in a way. We all have that essence of the goddess within us. So that's one of the reasons why we have like the red tent goddess sisterhood, because in essence we are all goddesses, and we're all connected to the goddess and to the different goddesses. So all of it together, I consider that to be the divine feminine. So that's my viewpoint on what is the divine feminine, how I see it, and how I see it manifested in all of us.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Lisette.
You're welcome. I don't know if anyone else has a different viewpoint or a different way of viewing the divine feminine. There's so many different ways of seeing it, but
I'd
that
also to add, especially as I've gone through the Sekhmet class, the righteous power that women embody and can carry on, and that ownership and the embodiment of that. I feel like divine feminine is a totality, the soft and the strong, that we can have it all.
I agree. Thank you, Andrea.
On point. Thank you, Andrea. Yes, beautiful. It looks like Marlou is back. So while she gets settled in, you said if you wanted to go ahead and share a little bit about both programs.
Sure. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so in the academy, we have two programs. So we have the Enchantress and we have the Priestess program. So I'll talk a little bit about the differences, and I'll talk a little bit about how they're alike and how they work together. So Marlu and I, when we put these two programs together, we saw it as the enchantress is the inhale and the priestess is the exhale. And mainly the reason why we saw it that way is because the enchantress is all about your own personal spiritual path, okay? And how you connect to your spiritual path, how you evolve as a spiritual being. So it's all about learning self-care, learning how to connect, learning divination, learning how to care for yourself and how to become that goddess. In other words, the goddess that I was talking about as ourselves, right? So it's inhale because you're learning how to connect to yourself and your divinity. You're connecting to angels and spirit guides, and you're connecting, you're learning about crystals, and you're learning how to do healing work, and how, like I'm saying, how to do divination for yourself, for other people, how to really truly embody this, how to be a spiritual being, how to be a spiritual woman, how to connect to your own inner spirituality. Okay, so I hope I'm explaining it right, but this is just to give you a gist, right, of how we put this together. And then the priestess program is a program that is a little more specific for women that want to have a connection with the divine feminine, with the goddess. Either they already have a connection or they'd like to have a connection. They'd like to learn about the goddess. They like to encounter the goddess. And what does encountering the goddess mean? And how to not just learn about the goddess, but how to be a priestess, how to be in service to the goddess, to yourself, and to others. And that's why we call it the exhale, because you are now using those gifts to work with other people. So you could choose to become a community priestess, you could become a priestess for yourself, and it be a private priestess, which is you and the goddess, and you're in devotion to the goddess. Or like I'm saying, you could become a community priestess, where then you learn skills that you now use to work in community, to work with people, as Claudia said earlier, to facilitate rites of passage, to be able to do ceremonies, to be able to do, you know, solstices and equinoxes and lunar ceremonies and rituals, and also some divination, and also connecting to the goddess and learning about each goddess, learning how to do offerings, learning so many different nuances that you learn in this program, about each goddess and each pantheon, so that you're not only learning about the goddess, but you're learning about the goddess and the culture and the history and the kind of people that connected to that goddess. And so therefore that is also part of the priestess program. So it's two amazing programs, and they work very well together. Marlu and I have synced the programs so that if you take both programs together, there will be things that you will learn in the enchantress program that will be in sync with the priestess, and vice versa. So like you will learn, for example, astrology. You'll learn some aspects of astrology that you'll learn in the enchantress. You'll also learn it in the priestess in a different way. So you'll learn how to take that information that you're learning and use it for ceremonies and for connection. We'll teach you about the Venus synodic cycle. We'll teach you how to connect with the Venus synodic cycle, how to use it in your life in order to be able to connect to Venus and to all love goddesses, and how to honor them. And you'll learn it from an astrological perspective at the same time that you'll learn how to use it for yourself and how to use it for others. So I hope I've given you a brief explanation on two very in-depth programs. Does anyone have any questions, or is there anything else you'd like me to add to that?
Thank you for that, Lisette.
You're welcome.
I ended up having to get into the computer of my work
Oh,
My laptop shut down.
oh,
Okay.
wow.
So I have this. I'm going to share my screen if there are no questions. Yeah, Jamie, we so love them that, Lisette and I are like, we live for that.
Maybe one of the participants, I know we have, I know Ali has gone through the program. I don't know if you want to share your experience, Ali.
Yes, I would love to. I was just telling Trish, how like this program, I did both the Enchantress and the Priestess program. And I cannot tell you how much it helped me in my own journey and my healing journey as well. And now I'm officially a priestess of the goddess. I haven't devoted myself to a specific goddess. But I did do there are three goddesses that I do wish to work with, which is Mary Magdalene, Freya, and Aphrodite, so also known as Venus. My intuition heightened. I learned how to my favorite. I mean, there was so much of it that was very my favorite, but my favorite class was the Archangel class. It was pretty funny. I have now a connection to Archangel Michael because of that class. And it was interesting knowing about all the angels, because of the way I was raised. I never really connected to the angels. I knew they were there, but that was about it. So it was nice to know the different things that they can do for you. And throughout the program, my intuition heightened as I was connecting more with myself. I learned how to use a pendulum, how to read oracle cards and tarot cards, and I love learning about the different pantheons as well. The Archangel class and the divination tools are in the Enchantress program, and then in the Priestess program, I learned about the different pantheons, and it was interesting learning about the different pantheons and learning how they're all connected. All of them have like a main god, a father god, a mother goddess, a love goddess, a warrior goddess, a dark goddess, and it's interesting how they're all connected in different ways. And they all have also like an underworld kind of thing, and then a heaven, and how there's a lot of similarities between all of them. So it was very interesting. My favorite thing to learn about was the Gnostic, being raised a Christian. It was very interesting learning about Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the connection together. And overall, it was just an amazing program, and I highly recommend it. Learning about the different types of ceremonies that we can offer in our community, which is something that I wish to build my own community to help people, especially with religious trauma, which is why I felt so connected to the Gnostic pantheon, the Hebrew pantheon. So it's if it's something that you're looking for, to connect to yourself with the Enchantress program, and to learn about the different cultures and pantheons, to be able to help a community of people, then it's a very wonderful program. And Lisette and Marlu became my besties because of it. So yes. Yeah. So thank you.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, Ali.
Okay, so to give you an idea, when we begin the Enchantress program, there's a couple of things that we want you to know. And one of those things is truth testing. So I don't give this year, I wouldn't be giving the truth testing class to the Enchantresses, but I will have the slides for them to read. And then in class, we would do it. But you get to have the class. Rather than reading it, you get to have the class. So if you are going to be an enchantress in the future, you already have that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today next. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, this is something that I did want to mention to you about the Enchantress. These are some of the things that we do. We learn about cosmic wisdom, how to protect yourself, how to balance your life. We learn about different spiritual tools and the spiritual laws, and a lot of self-love, a lot of healing, and a lot of divination. We work with a book that you create. We call it a light work book. And in this book, you would be writing the things that you are learning about that are most important for your career and for your life. And areas that you're going to improve in, everything we talked about. When you're going to learn about karmic relationships, you're going to learn how to develop your psychic senses. You're going to learn how integrity and how gratefulness, gratitude really work positively in your life and lift your energy and things like that. And you will have a mirror sister. So the mirror sister would be the one that would keep you accountable. And you end up with a certificate of completion. And I wanted to mention spiritual connection because this is super important for all of the programs in the red tent. And even if you're not in a program, if you're just in the red tent, for you to be able to connect spiritually, you can connect to yourself, your higher self, or you can connect to angels or spirit guides, guides that have been there with you from the beginning. The difference is that spirit guides once were alive and now they're not, and they're protecting you and they're guiding you. Goddesses and Virgin Mary, a lot of people choose a female entity or energy to help them, to guide them. Mother Nature is another one. Or cosmic intelligence, ancestors. And I wanted to see if anybody wanted to share their experiences with angels or spirit guides or anything that's outside of the normal 3D Earth world. If anybody has any testimonials that you want to talk about, and share it with the ladies here today. Give you an opportunity.
I'll share
Nobody?
a little something.
Okay.
So I have some angel cards, and I took some time to learn about the angels, and I feel sometimes like I have so many tools that I forget what tools I have. And so yesterday I remembered about these angel cards, and so I slept with Archangel Michael, the card of his, and also Angel Gabriel underneath my bed or underneath my pillow. And what I felt when I went to bed was just, I gave them my worries, and I said, just kind of released it. And I said, I want to feel better about stuff. And so when I woke up this morning, I felt like released from those concerns, which was really nice. And so I know these tools are really, really powerful. And so it's just a reminder that they're always there. And I love what Ali shared, because she reminded me, oh yeah, like the angels are always with us. So we're very lucky to have these tools.
Thank you. Thank you. We had a really funny thing happen when we were in the Enchantress class, in the last Enchantress class for the angels. All the ladies we were all good, everything was going well. We were talking about angels. And then I think it was Ali that said that it was you. Did you want to say it? Go ahead, you say it.
I will never forget that class. Because I never, like I said, I never connected with the angels. I never really knew about the angels. And I don't know what it was I said. I said something. So we were talking about Saint Michael, and I said, I never really had felt a connection with him or something. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, I don't feel drawn to him or something. And I kid you not, everything turned off. like everything shut down. Like we all got logged out of the Zoom meeting. And I was like, wait, what happened? Like, it was so funny. But I'm telling you, it happened the moment I said that, it turned off. And Marlu, you want to share what Archangel Michael likes to do to get a sense? Like, you would know.
No, you do. Lisette, you.
Lisette, like apparently he does these things. He does things like that, especially like with technology or different things. I mean, Lisette has a story too. I mean, he's not like he makes his presence known,
He's pretty powerful, and he does rule over technology. Okay. He is an archangel you can turn to when you, believe it or not, when you have difficulties communicating, if you have problems with your computer, with your phone. He's he's known to like step in and help. And I had a situation, I can tell you a little story that happened to me, where I got like reprimanded by an archangel, which that's kind of like, wow, okay. So I used to work at a university, and I worked in an office where I had a little office in the corner, and I had a little statue of Archangel Michael and crystals and stuff. And nobody can see this. Like, I was in a corner, nobody from the outside can see my desk. And one day a new supervisor came into the building, and I had to work with him. And when he saw that I had that little statue of Archangel Michael, he had a fit. And he's like, this is so unprofessional. You need to get rid of this. I don't want this in the office. This is not a church. And he gave me this big speech. And I was really upset because nobody could see it. Like, it was like a little statue right in the corner. You couldn't even see it, but he had a fit. And so I didn't want to make waves, and I put his little statue in my drawer. 2 days later, I go get a reading from a lady that I had learned Reiki from, and she's like an angel. She's an angel reader. She did angel cards. And she gave me a reading, and she said, the first thing she did when she opened my reading, she said, wow, you have you have an angel, like an archangel, really upset with you. And I just stayed looking at her, and of course I had no idea what she was talking about. I completely forgot about the whole incident. So I just looked at her and I said, what do you mean? And she goes, Archangel Michael says, why are you hiding him? What's going on? Why are you hiding him? Are you ashamed of him? Because that's what's coming out in your reading. And I just stayed looking at her like I couldn't believe she was saying that. And she's like, what have you done? Have you done something? Because it says here that you kind of like shunned him. You put him, like, you're hiding him. And I was like, then it just like, it hit me. I was like, oh my God. And then I told her the story of the drawer and that I had put him in there. And then she shuffled the cards and she pulled another card and she says, yes, that's a confirmation. He's upset. You need to stand your ground. You need to take that statue out. And if you want him to be around you, then you need to stand up for yourself. You need to say it. And I was like, okay. So then the next day I got to work and I pulled out my little statue and I put it back on my desk, and out comes the supervisor again. And with what are you doing? I told you, we talked about it. And I said, listen, this is my desk. Nobody sees this. I'm not facing the outside. I'm not getting anybody upset here, and especially not an archangel. He stays there. And he just looked at me like, so after that, it was like confirmed for me that he's always around me and that, like, we have this connection. But I was sharing this in the class, and I was telling Ali and Marlu that, yeah, like, he's a powerful archangel. Like, he will show his presence. He will.
Oh, yeah.
He will.
He showed his presence that day, Lisa,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Ever since that class, I have connected with him, because it was like a slap in the face. Oh, you don't feel so connected to me. Well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you I'm here. So yeah, and one of the things that we learned also in the Reiki course and the Enchantress is Saint Michael psychic protection flame, Reiki, which is like an energy protection. So, and that's, I use that a lot, and that's very powerful as well. So I just wanted to add that.
And I think in the same class, we got back on the Zoom again. And then after that, we're like, okay, Archangel Michael, we're all connected to you. We're sorry. You know, and the rest of the class flowed. Like there was not even one hiccup.
It
So
was the
anyway,
best class. I mean, it was one of the best class. I mean, there were so many, but that was one of the best ones I'll never forget.
yeah, it was powerful. It was powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ali.
Thanks. That was fun. Fun to listen to again. Okay, now we're gonna switch gears and we're going to learn. Now it's time to learn. We're going to talk about truth testing. Okay, so what's truth testing? It's working with your intuition, because when you're little, you have the intuition very, very strong. And you know what is really true for you. And you know when somebody's good to you, when somebody's nice, and when somebody's not. And then you start getting programmed, right? And you start to lose that ability of instinctively knowing. Okay, so what we're going to attempt to do in 10 minutes is to go inward and figure out when something is true and something is not true. Okay. So we're going to talk about we're going to work with your innate intuition. Okay. You're going to have that internal radar start to work, and the way that you're going to know whether something is true or not is you're going to observe how your body reacts to a sentence or to something or to someone. Okay, and being aware of how your body reacts is what's going to give you the higher intuition in the long run, and it's going to give you a direction of whether or not this person or this thing or this whatever they said is true or not for you. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our body. It's called visceral tracking. And it's our nerves, our hormonal glands, the whole body system. And it all works towards keeping you alive and in the direction and the path that you were meant to be in this world, in this lifetime. And so if you go towards something that is not meant for you and that doesn't match with your energy, you're going to feel something. So you get to check how your body responds to things. If you feel nauseated and sick, your headache, your stomach rolls, you get a rash, that's not in alignment with your energy. However, if you feel nervous or maybe even apprehensive, it may not be that it's not in alignment with your energy. It may just be that you're about to take a chance and leap. There's an opportunity here to do something amazing for your life, and it's just scary to you. So that is the difference. Nauseated, sick, no. Nervous, that's just your fear working against you. And it's your ego stopping you from doing something. So notice the two differences. How your body hears you and how you hear it are two different things. Now, you probably have heard that everything you say to an angel, spirit guide, or even your soul, your higher self should be, or the universe must be in the positive, right? You've probably heard that before. You don't tell your angels or your goddess or God, I don't feel so well, please take this away from me. You rather say, I want excellent health. I want to feel amazing. You don't use the word no. You don't use the word don't. You don't use the word not. Because that's not heard by the universe, right? So your body also doesn't hear the no's. Your body only hears the positive. So it's a new way of talking to yourself so that your body will hear you correctly. So when you say, I have a headache, for example, in this example here, your body hears, I accept that I have a headache. It's like when you say, I'm exhausted, or I'm frustrated, or I'm overwhelmed. Well, your body hears it and your body believes it. And when your body believes it, you've acknowledged, you've accepted, and now that's what you're going to, that's what's going to happen for you. And that's how you're going to feel. So when we don't feel well, it's the way that our body is showing you of how you've been talking, how you've been acting, and how your life is at this moment. If you've not been eating well, if you haven't released emotionally, if you haven't cried that big cry you needed to cry or vented, if you haven't worked with your cords and break the cords of with people that don't belong in your life, energies around you that don't belong, your body will feel it. So this is what we're going to try out. Okay, everybody's going to do this. Okay, you don't have to put your mic on, but out loud in the present tense and very positive, you're going to first say truth. My name is, because one of the words that you're going to use whenever you do a truth testing is you first say truth and then you say something. So in this time, you're going to say truth. My name is, and you say your name. Go ahead. You said it? Did you feel anything? Nothing, right? Because it's true, correct? It's true. So there's nothing for you to feel, okay? When your body your body's not going to do anything and it's going to be perfectly still, and you might even fall in to the truth. When somebody's saying a truth to you, you might even like move forward. But when it's something negative, your body is going to back away. You're going to feel like a sense of like you want to put space between you and that person, on you and those words. Okay, so we're going to try something. This is what we're going to try. Okay, this is an alternative before we try it. Instead of just your body moving forward for positive and negative when it goes back, the fingers can also be a way of showing the hand. This takes a little bit of practice though, and it's pretty much one of the fingers, either the middle or this finger, you put them together, and if it's false, you make a movement, but if it's true, it stays still. And what happens is after a while, after you've started practicing this and you know that something is false and you move your fingers, it will eventually do it on its own. Your body will do it on its own. And so you'll know, even without processing it, you notice that your fingers are moving and you know that is false. Okay, so now you're going to know when it is not yours and even when it is. One of the first steps when people begin the work of enlightenment is that they become highly empathic. Your body will respond over and over to information that's not even yours. So by doing this exercise, you will be able to bypass a lot of illness that other people bring to you, not even yours. When you live with someone, when you work with someone, when you're constantly with someone, and even when you're not with them directly, but you have been in the past, there's still that cord that's keeping you with that person. And you feel their emotions, their anger, their pain. And you want to know, like, let's say that you get a headache. You can say the word body. Is this headache even mine? And see how the body reacts to it. And if you feel like a pit in your stomach, you feel like you're moving backwards, it's not yours. And then you can let go of that headache. You can say to yourself, okay, so this headache is not mine. Now, body, now that I'm aware, what will it take for you to transmute this headache out? And acknowledge and understand that you can get those pains away however your intuition tells you. When you ask your body, how do you feel that I need to take this away from my body? Something will come up, either a picture, or you'll hear something, or you'll know what to do. And then you'll be able to transmute it into love, transmute it into peace, get it out of your body, and then the pain goes away. Sounds easy? It just takes some practice. So there's 2 words you can use before you ask for truth testing. The first is truth, and then whatever you're going to ask. And the second is body, and whatever you're going to ask. So body, if you're feeling it. Truth, if you want to know if it's truth or not. So you want to start with inconsequential things first that won't have a huge consequence. Like truth, the best color to wear today is yellow. And then your body will probably be like, no, that's not the color. So your body will feel it and, okay, I'm wearing red today. You'll know by little things like that. You say the word truth or the word body first, and this gives your brain an instruction. Does that make sense so far? Okay, so let's do this. You're gonna feel in your body whether or not something is true. And the way to do that is by saying something. We're gonna do something really, really heavy. Like think of someone you love a lot, and then say out loud, truth, I hate so-and-so. And see how the body feels. See what happens to your body. And then we're going to share. Observe. It takes some practice. If you don't get it right away, it's okay. Try something else. And if anybody's ready, you can unmute. Do you think you're going to be using this more and more?
Definitely, yeah. I did it. I first said I hated my husband, and then I said I hated my daughter, and oh, just that feeling in the pit of your stomach. Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your intuition telling you you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not going the right way. Yeah.
Then I said I hate someone that I really do not like very much, and it felt fine.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
So yeah, you get to truth test everything now. Use the word truth and use the word body before you do it. Anybody else want to talk about it?
I'll share. I'm not really used to listening to my body's intuitions. It's kind of really cool to see. Usually, something that I'm working on breaking in my life right now is always looking for approval and validation outside of myself, like not trusting my own intuition and wisdom, and just being like willing to hear my body's wisdom and intuition and seeing how it actually responds is really cool. It feels like science, but like womb science. Yeah, so I said some like family members too, and just felt like the natural response of going backwards, and it's really, really cool to observe and see how the body knows.
Yeah.
There's no necessary.
Try it with little things and you'll start to recognize your body, see how it acts, how it reacts to things, and then you'll be able to guide yourself in life without the validation of others.
I'll share a little bit. I took a different class that really, it's a quantum energy healing class that really dove really deep into this. And it's the same thing, like my forward is truth and backwards is not. And it was so interesting to me at first, like how testing it and playing with it. And it's such a practice, like in my life, so much so where um I was in the dollar store one day and I was asked to paint a painting for a friend for her altar, and she wanted a small canvas but didn't give me like anything else besides a small canvas for her altar. And so when I got there, there was like different shapes, like long rectangle, square, circle, all small, right? And me, sometimes when I have a lot of choices like that, I get overwhelmed and like, oh, like I could see this painting, I could see that. So I like so many options really kind of take me a lot longer to like make my own choice, right? And like I'll stand there for 20 minutes trying to figure out a piece of canvas. So after the class, when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna body, we call it body testing. I'm gonna body test it. And so I held the canvas in my hand. I connected to my higher self, which is how we learned in that class. And I'm like, it benefits me to paint the painting on this canvas. And I would move back and I'm like, okay, not that one, put it back. And then I went to the next one and I'm like, okay, it benefits me to paint the painting on this canvas. And nope, lean backwards. Okay, forget it. Don't even have to think about it. And then the last one, I was like, it benefits me to paint it on this canvas. And I very naturally leaned forward. And I was like, okay, that's the one. And it took me literally half the time to make that choice and decision, using that true for you, or the truth testing, same concept, but it's so cool how you can put it in, simple things like that, or and bigger, of course, but like just really stepping into and playing with it and practicing with it. It's so cool because it comes much quicker with the practice and kind of helps with the flow of little things and big things. So I just wanted to share that.
Can I share too?
Yeah, go ahead.
So cool, Marissa, because I think that it's something that we all should like do with little things first, because if we can get like, even sometimes I'll just practice with when I know what the answer is, just to make sure that I'm aligned and I'm connected. Because when you have a big decision to make, then you can like you know that you can trust your intuition more. And that was one of the things that I had to get in touch with my body, to understand, to make sure, like there's different ways. Like for me, yes is back and no is forward.
Me too.
So, and then for Trish too. So it's like, it's different for everyone. You just have to practice with your own body and practice with small things first. Sometimes if I'm in
food.
Yeah, with anything. And like if I'm in public, like sometimes I wouldn't want to do the body one because sometimes I have to close my eyes for that one. So sometimes also it's good to see how your body is feeling. Like, for example, when something is very aligned to me, I'll feel like a vibration in my third eye, and like I'll feel like a vibration around this area, crown and third eye. And when something is not good for me, I'll just feel nothing. So, and it's just, it's things like that, to have like different ways to how you can do your truth testing. So yeah, and it's fun to do, have fun with it, get in touch with how your body reacts to it. So, yeah, I just want to share that.
Great point. That some people don't have the forward and the backward the same. Great point. Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, we have plenty of time. So tomorrow we're going to be doing a goal setting exercise. So before tomorrow, means today, we're going to do a meditation that connects us to our future self. And then that way you get tonight to think about it, and tomorrow, and then tomorrow you can do some goal setting. Okay. So this is what I'm going to ask of you. For all of you to close your eyes And breathe in through your nose and feel the coldness going in through your nose. Normal breath. And going out through your mouth slowly. Next, you're going to bring it in through your nose and hold it out slowly through your mouth. And then you're going to bring it in again. You're going to feel that cold through your nose and hold it. Now, when you let it out with a sigh. Keep your eyes closed, get comfortable. You can lay down even better. Now we're going to visualize that you are in the middle of a beautiful grassy area and you can hear a river nearby. You hear the river going through the rocks. You feel the sunshine on your face. You hear a bee buzzing by. You feel the breeze on your face. And you walk towards the sound of the river, taking one step at a time, slowly. As you get closer to the river, you realize that there is a boat, like a canoe, a very small boat, right there by the rocks. And there's a very kind old man. The man looks kind. He looks like someone that you could talk to. So you come up to him and he recognizes you by name and tells you, I'm here for you. What you're going to experience, I'm going to help you and support you with. I've got your back. You will be fine. Here, let me hold your hand and I'll let you in the canoe. And so you feel like it's right for you. You feel like this is something you need to do. I'm completely trusting with this man. He holds you to sit down and pushes the canoe out. And he starts to move the canoe in the water with his rowing one side and then the other. Feels nice. The river is sweet, has a nice smell. And he tells you, just past these trees coming up, you'll realize that a year will have gone by. And you pass those trees, and you're now 1 year older. And then he tells you, you're going to go down another set of trees, and you're going to be another year older. And so you do. And you're now 2 years older. The river starts to move faster and faster. And he tells you, we're going by the riverbed. And now we're going to be 5 years older. And so you go down by the riverbed. You're 5 years older than you are today. As you go slowly down the river now, you realize that it's getting softer and softer in the water. And he tells you, you are now 2 years older than last. So now you are 7 years older than you are today. And it keeps going another year, 8. And you keep going. It's another year. You're 9 years older. Keeps going. And you're 10 years older. And it keeps going. And you're 11 years older. Keeps going. You're 12 years older. And 13. And now 14. You are now 15 years older than you were when you first started. Now keep going. So I'm going to do 5 more years. So it keeps going. 16 years older. 17 years older. 18 years older. 19. And now 20 years, he starts to move the canoe closer to the river edge, and you feel the rocks underneath the canoe. And he tells you, it is time for you to go experience this. And he helps you out of the canoe and tells you, I will be here when you return. Go. And as you're walking over the back of the house. You're going around to the side of the house and then to the front of the house. This is your future home. Look at your future home. This is where you now live 20 years from today. Are there flowers? Is it a building or a house? Does it have a porch or a garage? You're going to go up a step or two and look around, see the front part of your house and the window, and then knock on that door. And someone opens the door and looks at you, and you recognize her eyes. They're a little more wrinkled, but they're your eyes. And you recognize her hair. This is the reflection of you. This is what you look like 20 years from now. And she tells you with a smile, welcome. Come to your home. I've been waiting for you. And you walk in, and in amazement, you notice there are some things on the walls and around that you recognize. Things that you have had for years. Look at the paintings on the wall, at the lamps, at the furniture. What's on the right wall where the shelves are? Look at the shelves. What is there? What do you recognize from this life now? And what do you recognize you will have later on? And she tells you, come, I want you to sit here on this bar bench. And she goes around the counter and looks at you with a smile and tells you, you can ask me anything. What would you like to ask me? So ask her and listen to her. Listen to her reply. She has a gift for you because she was waiting for you. So she reaches down under the counter and gives you something. She tells you, pull out your hand. This is for you. What is it? Thank her for this beautiful gift and for her words of wisdom, and ask her, may I come back again? And she'll say, whenever you want. You can come back and look at the rest of the house and the backyard. You can come back and ask me more questions anytime you want. Do you need to go? Yes, it is time for me to return. And you hug. How does that feel? And she says, thank you for coming, and opens the door and bids you a good trip back. You take one last look at your house. You take your gift with you. You thank her again and hold her hand for a second. You don't really feel like you want to leave her, but you know you have to live your life and you have to get there. So you say goodbye. You go down the 2 steps, looking at the front yard now with different eyes. This is what it looks like for me. You go down the side of the house and you recognize that there are cars parked outside. What are those cars? And you go down to the back of the house and you walk towards the river. And you're thinking about that gift and the words that you spoke with each other. You go back into the canoe, thanking the old man for bringing you here. And he helps you up, helps you into the canoe, then shoves it a little bit to get it going. And he tells you, don't worry, I'm bringing you back home. And slowly you notice that all the steps you took to get there are now returning. So you're now 19 years, 18 less, 17, 16, 15. And look at yourself when you're 15. What do you look like 15 years from now? 14, 13, 12, 11. 10 years from now, what will you look like? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year from now, where will you be? And he comes over to the backyard where you were before, and he pulls the canoe in and lets you out, and you thank him. He smiles with his noble smile and tells you, whenever you need me, just walk this way and I'll be here. Then you walk towards the grassy area. You feel the breeze, you feel the sun, you feel that welcoming sensation that you're back home. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Take a deep breath in and out and then out. And when you are ready, feel the heaviness of your back and your bottom on your chair and open your eyes. Okay, loves. So now you know where you're going to be in 20 years. And you get to work on that. Does anybody want to share their experience at all? And anybody? Just no pressure. Nobody needs to.
I will. I just cried my eyes out. Like, no, I didn't even ask a question because I just couldn't. I wasn't ready. And I felt like I can come back and I can ask the question. And right now I just want to be here with me.
Mhm.
And what Tasanova said earlier resonated with me about like being with me and taking my own intuition and my own knowledge. And I just took the moment to be with me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And I got a little pink rose quartz.
Ooh,
That was my gift.
how beautiful.
Thank you. It was a beautiful meditation.
You're welcome.
I'll share one thing that was interesting on the canoe. I think we're at year 3 or 4. I was on the canoe and I was looking at everything, and you're like, and now you're this age. It was like 3 or 4, some one of those. And I looked down and I had a pregnant belly. And I was like, and in the minute I was like, and then I look over and I had a wedding ring on, and I was just like, okay, we're just gonna keep going in this canoe. Like, and then when I got to the house, I asked her if she was happy, and I cried a little bit because she said happier than you could ever imagine. And things have been a little rough lately, so it was so good to know and see that, like, that's it, like it's all coming. And my gift was a huge bouquet of lilacs, which is my favorite flower. And it was wrapped, like the stem of it was like wrapped in this white satin ribbon, almost like a bouquet, like a wedding bouquet, how it would be wrapped at the bottom. And I could smell, like literally smell the lilacs. And we all know Florida doesn't grow lilacs like that. Like I haven't smelled that like real smell of lilacs in so long. And it was beautiful. So thank you for the experience. That was really beautiful.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm very happy that you got some beautiful experiences. I did this meditation once. The very first time I did it, I looked up the shelves and I saw books that were written by me. And she gave me a book that was written by Jaslyn and me, my daughter and I. And I cried because I had not thought up until that moment that that was something I wanted to do. And then I realized that I did. So it was really cool when I made this meditation. Anybody else?
I'll share. So the house I noticed was kind of a house in New York, in the area. So possibly might be going back in a few years. So when I opened the door, she had kind of like my length curly hair, but she let her grays, left to grays. Because I do have grays, but I dye it, but she had it, she left it alone. And I was with my partner and I had a teenage son, is what I saw in the kitchen. And I didn't ask her a question because I didn't know what to ask her. But what she gave me was very interesting. It was my first belly dance scarf that I've ever had. Yeah. Yeah, the first one I ever bought like 20 years ago. Right now, 20 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So it would have been 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think that means? You got to think about it.
I know what it means. I know
Oh,
what it means.
okay.
Because I'm working on my belly dance certification and I have not been working on it. And it was something that I decided I need to focus on. I need to focus on that. So I know what it means.
Oh, okay. She's kind of like kicking your butt. I got it.
Yeah, she kind of gave me confirmation. You need to get on this. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's your future. So, and I've been told that before. So.
Beautiful. That is your future. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Thank you. That was beautiful.
You're welcome. So does anybody else want to say anything? Because if you're gonna split your scenes if you don't share. Everybody's good. Okay. Let me share my screen. I see you, Trish. We did the question and answer. We did a future self meditation. Okay. So today we are going to be giving away an intuitive palm reading. Okay. So I wanted to tell you what a palm reading is. Okay. And if you get the palm reading, which Sister Regina is going to, right now, she's getting everybody's names in a little paper and she's going to put them together and she's going to pull one out of a hat or a bag and she's going to call out the name of someone that's in this, that's here live. If you get your name pulled out, this is my email and this is my phone. So write it down just in case it's you. So intuitive palm reading is not like the Chinese palm reading. It is a path that you chose, a spiritual path that you chose prior to coming to this earth, to this lifetime. So I work with past lives that are written in your life, in your palm. I work with your past romance and your future romance, and things that can help you to move forward in your career, the type of career you could use, where will they be obstacles for you, that kind of thing. So it's mostly past lives. If you're psychic or could be psychic or have been psychic in a past life, I will know by looking at your hand. And recently, someone told me something really beautiful, and it really made sense to me. And it's that, oh, it was Lisette. Lisette, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
You're in a Mary Magdalene course that
Mhm.
told you about the lines in the hand. Do you want to share that with them?
Yes. So in the course that I'm taking, a teacher was telling us that your entire life is written in your hand. So in other words, between incarnations, before we come to this incarnation, we plan our life, right? We plan who we're gonna be, who our parents are gonna be, all of that information. She says it's written in our hands. And so what happens is the angels help put it in our hands before we're born. So when we're born, it's written, but it's invisible to us. We don't get to see it. So she says that whenever we rub our feet and we touch our feet pick up that energy, and so your body instinctively knows what to do. So it's like you rub your feet with your hands, and your feet pick up that energy. It's like, oh, okay, now I know what your path is, now I know what we need to do, and so you intuitively do it. So it's like there's this magical connection between your hands and your feet. So she always recommends that you rub your feet every night before you go to bed. You could rub them with an essential oil, you could rub them with a cream, but you should always close your eyes and like intuitively rub your feet so that your feet will read what's written in your hands and help you move forward in life. So yeah, that's what I had told Marlu. So that's the beauty of getting a palm reading, is because she's able to like look at those hands and interpret what you can't see, what's invisible to you. So anyway, I thought that was really amazing. So
Thanks for that.
you're welcome.
And so after, I don't know if Regina is ready. Let me know, Regina. Okay. I don't know if she's ready, but when she's ready, she'll let us know. And after that palm reading, you have a homework, right? What we call soul work. And you can choose one of these two things, or you can do both if you want to. So if you want to do at least 2 truth tests before we meet again tomorrow, and then we can share when we first begin our class tomorrow or immersion tomorrow. Or you can look at your hand and see if there's something curious about it and research it, and then share what you found out about it. And that's your soul work. And so tomorrow we're going to be talking about self-love. I'm going to teach you how to stop procrastination. Everybody has at least one of 3 types of procrastination. So we're going to do a quiz to see which one you are. And then I'm going to show you how you can get rid of it. And then we're going to go into breakout rooms, and you can choose either to go into the breakout room that helps you to set your boundaries, or go into the breakout room that talks to you about codependency and how to be rid of it. So that's up to you. And that's going to be like 15 or 20 minutes. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to set goals. And then later in the week, on Wednesday, Lisette is going to talk to you about the goddesses in the new moon. When Claudia does a sacred circle, right? And she brings in the goddesses and for protection. Who are the goddesses? Why does she bring them in? So that you can be a little more connected when you come into the new moon next year, new moon circle. You will understand more about them. And even if you never go to a new moon circle of red tent, you would learn about 6 goddesses that you might have not known much more about. And Lisette will explain them to you. And she's also going to talk to you about astral temples, what they are, and how you can start your own. And I'm going to take you through how to create your own crystal grid at home. So that's coming up tomorrow and the next day. So, Regina, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so that people can see you.
Hey, everyone. So I wrote the names down. I didn't know when we were doing this part. So I just wrote the names down and I'll just pull a name. Does that
Okay.
sound good? Okay.
Show us the names. Oh, they're in the computer?
Like this?
Okay.
Yeah, I just wrote them down. I didn't know exactly how you wanted to do this, so I think this was just the quickest way that I could do it. So I just wrote them down. They have stickies on them, so if I put them in a bag, they're gonna get stuck.
Okay. So how are you going to do it?
I was gonna leave them on the table and I was gonna choose a name, and then you
Okay.
said to show you. So I'm not really sure how you want to do this.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay,
I'll say who I have and you tell me. Yeah, I think we just didn't talk about it beforehand. I think that's all. There was just
Do you have them in the line? Because then we could just choose a number and then whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I have them listed out. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 names because I have
1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have Trish and Allie? Because they're in one.
I do.
Okay.
And I have Claudia, not Pisetti, but I have Nieves.
Mhm.
I'll tell you the names I have and you tell me if I'm missing anyone. How about
Okay.
that?
Perfect.
Farah, Trish, Jamie, Marissa, Ali, Kim, Tassanova, Andrea, and Claudia.
Are we missing anyone?
You're missing yourself, Regina. You're missing yourself.
And me, I'd like to participate if it's possible.
Oh, and Claudia.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just wasn't clear on what we were doing, so it's all good. All right, so let me mix them up a little bit so that way it is not the same as it was a moment ago.
Good. Mhm. Who wants to be the one to say that number? Did I volunteer someone?
I'll say the number.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's a good idea.
So the numbers are from 1 to what, 9 or 1 to 10?
1 to 10, because Claudia is also there.
Oh, okay, so 1 to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Regina, what you didn't put yourself?
11 with myself included.
Okay, good.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when I can pick the number.
Yeah, now it's good.
7.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Yay!
Good job. Nice.
Awesome. Do you need the slide back on so you can call me?
Nope, I've got your
You got it.
information.
All right. Awesome. Okay, well, with that, our immersion for the first day has been concluded. Around if you have any questions, if you want to say anything. Andrea, I didn't see you come in.
He's been here. This was lovely. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Beautiful practices, meditation, connecting with the sisters, hearing from each other. Very nourishing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Marlu,
Thank you.
You have a question from Kim and Tassanova.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I charge 65, but for the sisterhood, 40.
Nice. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I have a question. So in regards to tomorrow and the rest of this immersion, I see you created different events. So do each of the days have their own Zoom link, or how are we going about that?
No, I think they're all the same.
They're all the same. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I created, so what I did is I went into Zoom and I made it a recurring meeting so that we can use the same link.
Awesome.
Because I think once when you go to Mighty Networks, I think it creates a new link. So everyone just use the same link. I think that would be the easiest way. So same link, same time tomorrow.
Okay. And if there's any confusion, I'd ask you to help your sisters to come back into this link if there's any confusion with that. Okay.
And we'll post it also.
Yeah, the first 2 days are more enchantress, and then the next 2 days after that is more priestess, and then we'll conclude with good stuff. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. This was so beautiful.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Very beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Angel. Thank you. Good night. Love you.
Good night. Love you.